Welcome back, fish muggers. Well, today it's going to be a little special day. I get to get started on Pirate Bay. I'm going to be rebuilding this tank. So today, it's really nice outside. You can probably still hear my bird, but look what I got. I got my new microphone. It's by a company called Newer, but with 2 E's. Man, this thing got some great ratings. So I'm really hoping that this thing's gonna change the game a little bit for me. So let's talk about this tank. So I got the other tank down here, and I'm recording this all on my cell phone. I don't have my new camera yet, but yeah, so there's a new tank. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take this tank outside, and I'm gonna clean the back with some alcohol and you know, just clean it really good on the back, and then I'm gonna paint it black because I like the black background, you know, the best, because it just looks good. I mean, see, it's got a black background. I don't want to see my wall on the other side. And that's kind of a mistake that I made on my goldfish tank. Is like, oh man, I should have taken the time to paint the back of it, you know. But I think I could just get I can just get like a piece of film or something to put on the back of that, so I just make it easy. But so here's what I'm gonna do today. Since it's nice outside, I put the bird outside just so I can record this, but you know, she can come back in. Anyway, today I'm gonna take the pieces of wood out of here. I'm gonna take the rocks out of here, and I'm gonna take them out my driveway. I'm gonna pressure wash them. I just want everything off of them. I'm just gonna strip them as good as I can. And the reason for that is because I had such a bad algae issue in there, and I just want to kind of start over with those. I'm going to avoid taking the fish out until it's the very last step. So I'll do everything else and then take the fish out. That way there's less less stress. And I still honestly don't know what I'm going to do with the fish. I think I'm just going to set up a 5-gallon bucket with a heater and a bubbler, you know, and just do like that, you know. I think that'll be fine, as long as the right temperature, you know, doesn't mess up with their system. Heck, I'll probably just use the heater that's in there, you know. It's got to come out, right? So when I get to that, that's when I'll do all that. But today I'm just going to do some low-hanging fruits. Late in the day, I actually had to go run some errands. But anyway, that's my goals for today. And that begins Pirate Bay. Hey guys, okay, so I thought about this and I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I should tell people how I do this. If you've never painted the back of an aquarium, it might be, I don't know, maybe it'll be a little daunting at first. And it's really not. It's super simple, okay? Just really fast, like what I do. I have like a weak solution of Windex. You know, it doesn't have to be weak, I guess, but I just do that so that it doesn't, like, you know, leave any residue. I'll clean out the glass really good. But the first thing, actually, I'm sorry, I should start with this. So I had this razor. This thing is awesome. I need to put a link to this. If you don't have an algae scraper, this thing like uses like these little super thin individual like shaving razors. And I mean, this thing is amazing. So, you know, when you get a new tank, a lot of times there'll be like sticky stuff, or there'll be, in this case, whoever did the silicone smeared it like all over the place. They got like little fingerprints on it. So I'm chiseling off little pieces of the silicone, and you just want to get all those little pieces off. And that's good with this, right? And then of course there's going to be dust all over it and that kind of thing. So, oh, another thing, hey, I'm recording with the little, they call this thing a dead cat. Lovely. And I have noise canceling. Yeah. So if like it starts blowing or the wind blows or whatever, you shouldn't hear it. So I'll catch that and post edit, obviously. All right. So, but yeah, so that's what I wanted to do. So, scrape off all the hard stuff, any sticky tape, like from the things, find the best looking side. For me, this is the side, the best looking side should be your front, right? This to me was the worst because they did a bad job on the silicone back here, and I just didn't want to see that up front. So I'm going to use the other side as the front because it has a nice bead of silicone down there that looks pretty uniform through the whole thing, because I'm going to see that, even though I never really pay attention to it. But you know, if it's there, you might be inclined to see it more, you know. Okay, all right, so that's the first step. Get that hard stuff off. Clean it down with some Windex and some paper towels. And then this right here this is just straight isopropyl alcohol. And I clean the whole thing with alcohol. So this first, alcohol next, cleans it all off. Then I tape it. I should probably tape it all first, but I don't want to get the paper wet with the stuff, because I'm going to actually clean it again after I tape it. And when I tape it, I have masking tape. So I'll get some of that blue masking tape that you see at the stores all the time. I'll tape it on here and drape the paper over so no paint gets inside, because I'm using spray paint and it's kind of windy. I mean, well, you know, the wind picks up, you know, it's off and on. Don't do this on a super windy day, guys, because it'll get all over the place. You can also roll it on or even brush it on. It's going to look smooth on the other side. I just like the uniformity of the spray paint. You know, with the brush or rolling it on, you had to do like a lot of layers so you don't like see through it. But honestly, algae will grow on the back of it anyway someday, and eventually you won't even notice. But as long as it's dark, that's the objective here. But I get a little crazy, so I'll tape it on top of here, because I want it to be able. I want some of that paint to be able to get into that little corner. Not so much on the bottom, it doesn't matter, there's going to be substrate, so I won't see any gap of light down there. But on the top, I'm kind of gonna, you know, I'm gonna make sure I spray at this direction. This is the top, this is the opening right here. I'm gonna spray it this direction to make sure that it seeps underneath. Okay, and then I'll tape it right here. So I'll tape a piece all the way across this side and this side. I'll look and see if there's any more, you know, look, see the silicone's like all over the place. I'll see if there's any of these more of these that will bother me. Once I got all the paper on in every direction, you know, I'll just drape it over here. It doesn't have to get crazy. Just drape it, and I'll actually put my piece of tape right on this seam right here, because you won't see through. So where the glass meets right here, I'll just tape the paper right there on it like that. Or I'll just put a piece of tape going across, probably, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because I'll be spraying like this. I'm not going to come at this direction. But you could always put a piece of paper down here. But I'll make the tape stick up like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'll do that on both sides, kind of like a you know, like a dam. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, actually. That'll actually make a perfect line. Okay? So I'm going to get that going. But honestly, guys, it's really that easy. And this is the stuff that I use right here. You can choose anything. But this is Rust-Oleum. I like the 2X because I don't have to do as many layers. This one's ultra matte. Matte, to me, tends to be had the best stick. Like, it sticks the best. It doesn't matter what you do, because it's all going to look shiny through the glass on the other side. So even matte will not show matte through the other side. It'll look like it's gloss because it's glass. So we're just making it dark. I just like to have it matte on this side because I don't know. I always thought that the matte sticks better to stuff. So whatever's in the gloss makes it chippy. You know, like it'll chip out easier. Like if you hit the edge of it, it'll just chip off. Matte seems to not do that as much. And that's kind of just my experience doing like auto body work and things like that, right? So, but anyway, I'm going to get started with that. I'm not going to show you that whole process, but I just wanted to like kind of lay that out for you guys, for anyone that might not have ever painted a tank. And you know, you can also go with films too. There's lots of films out there. I've got some of that. I've done the film that's supposed to be the static cling film. But the problem with that, and I have used it and it looks great, but the problem is it's so difficult to do, because you have to like spray down the glass with water, then you got to lay the film on. Even though it's static cling, you can still see air bubbles through it. So you got to squeegee that out completely, like all those air bubbles. So you got to squirt it, then you got to lay it super flat and then work your way from the middle and out to the edges like that, and using your squeegee. And then if it's not perfect and it gets one little piece of dust underneath there, and you look from inside the tank and you can see that one little piece of dust, and it'll drive you nuts. Paint won't do that. You just put the paint on. And then if you don't like the paint later on down the road and you want it to be see-through again, it's easy to just scrape off. It's just glass, right? It'll just scrape right off the glass with like a little, with that razor blade actually, or any razor blade, honestly. But yeah, you could try the film. Maybe you have better luck at it than I did. It took me several tries. I mean, you can peel it back up and then get that little piece of dust out of there. But then the other thing is like so thin that like if you work that piece of dust too much, it actually creases it right where that little piece of dust. I mean, a piece of dust, like a hair, like you wouldn't think it's anything. Ordinarily, you would never even notice it, but you will with a film. That dust underneath the film, wow, come on. I mean, eventually, maybe you just cover it with decorations. You wouldn't even see it. It's all up to you, but I'm OCD, so it's got to be perfect. It's just the way I'm built. I don't know why. It's my mom's fault. I'm sure of it. Anyway, I'm going to get started with that. You don't have to see that whole process, but if you have any questions, just post them down in the comments and I'll get to you. You know, I don't mind if you live locally or whatever. I don't mind working with you, you know, like, you know, starting out. Of course, if I have like 10,000 subscribers someday, I can't see you all. You know, I actually thought of doing like a little like seminar, like a you know, rent a building and then have like a whole bunch of people show up. I bet there's some aquarium clubs out there that actually already do that sort of thing. You know, now that I think about it, I really should be part of this one a local aquarium club. But the problem is they're like an hour away, or almost like an hour and a half drive. So anytime I want to ever go to any meetings, an hour and a half, and I'm just too lazy to drive that far. I mean, honestly, I need to find one. Maybe I could just make one. Well, okay. Discussions for another day. I'm going to get going with this. I also need to get the pressure washer. I'm losing daylight here and heat, sunlight. So I want to get this painted, and then I want to get pressure washing. So I have all of that. Yeah, I got to pull the pressure washer. Yeah, look, there it is back there, right? You guys see it? It hasn't run all summer, I mean all winter, so I need to make sure it actually runs too. If I end up having to do that, that could be a pain in the butt. So anyway, I don't think I'll be filming anymore tonight unless it is to show you, oh, you know what? Maybe once I get the paint on there, I'll show you my mess. Yeah, okay, all right, be right back. Hey, okay, all right guys. Not to belabor the point, but I just wanted to show you how I did the taping. So this is the bottom. And I didn't feel like I really needed to put any paper there, because if paint gets on the bottom, I don't really care. You know, you're never going to see that. One thing about this piece of tape, the way I do my tape is when I stick it onto here, I leave just a little tiny overlay, and then I tuck that down with my fingernail, and I just run my fingernail like on it like that. I don't know, just so I don't get any paint on the plastic. I'm sure it won't hurt a thing, but I don't know. That's just me being weird, right? So I didn't want to get, you know, all kinds of paint on here, but it's not necessary. Then I put the pieces of paper here so no paint goes inside of the tank. But again, guys, if the paint does go where you don't want it to go, it's on glass. It just scrapes off with a razor blade very easily. You're probably wondering, like, how do you hold three pieces of paper and get them all taped at the same time? Well, the secret there is have 3 pieces of tape on your fingers, and you put each of the pieces of paper on with like that, and then you run your big piece over all of it. So all of them are held together. I don't know if you can kind of see the darkness right there, but they're just held with little pieces of tape right there. And then on this side, I just make like a dam sort of thing. And you know, and then I run my fingernail along this edge, because this is where paint will try to seep down. So I run it along there to make sure I have a nice tight connection to the glass here. You won't see it because if you look, see how you have the dark glass where it meets right there? you won't even see the paint through that. You know, so if your paint doesn't go perfectly all the way up to that edge, you won't even see it from the other side because it's completely covered. All right, and so I do that on both sides. And then I'll just sit here and I'll paint it. And look, there's like, if you're doing this outside, I got stuff all over the place. If you're doing this outside, you need to get started like immediately on the paint because there's stuff flying in the air. And like if it's spring, then there's like pollen. And for me, the wind is blowing. So I'm gonna do one more wipe down of this with some alcohol, and then I'm gonna get to painting. And that's it. It's really that simple, guys. And then I'll probably put about, you know, so the first coat is gonna be a light coat. That's just the stick coat. So I'll like like that, you know? Yeah, you like those sound effects? Professional. Then and then I'll wait for that to dry, probably, you know, like 5 minutes. You can go like 5 minutes between each coat. And then I just crisscross. I'll go in one direction like this, then the next coat I go in one direction like this, and then I change it up. Like that again, and then I will actually get, so it being daylight, it's great because I can actually look up into the tank from the underside up and see where I missed. Okay? So I could see where I missed when you do this during the day. If you do it at night, well, I don't know, shine a flashlight through it or something. Okay, well, I'm gonna get going with that. Then I'm gonna pressure wash those pieces. I don't think I have anything to show on that. It's just pressure washing. All right, thanks. Or whatever. I keep thinking of things that I should have told you. So another reason why I choose the matte paint is because if you see here, yeah, you can see in the picture, see how it's reflective and it's all shiny? Well, I know that it's time to add the next coat when all of that is dry. So when it gets that flat color, then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to put on the next layer. Now, what I did in my first one is I went around all the edges like that, and then I went lengthwise. Okay, so I do all my edges just to make sure those are all got, and then I'll come back. So now I cracked open a beer. I'm gonna get my pressure washer set up. I'll probably go inside and grab, you know, some of the things so I can get ready to go with those. And then when this is ready, those will be outside. This will be drying. I'm the master of multitasking. You had to be when you have 15 different hobbies. Okay, all right, cool. If I think of something else, I'll add it in here. All right, guys, there it is, finished product. Well, you're probably wondering, what are these like really wet spots you got over here? Yeah, so I don't know if I'll pick it up on, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. All right, you see those little dots, those little craters? We call those fish eyes. You know, in the auto finishing business, in the auto paint business, I guess, yeah, it's called fish eyeing. And what's happening is the paint is reacting to something that's on the surface of the glass and separating away from it. It's like expelling it, kind of like oil and water. You know how they repel each other, right? Well, that's exactly what it is. It could be the tiniest speck of oil that was on there. And you know, I don't care what it looks like out here, but I could actually see light from the other side because the paint gets so thin right there. The only way to fix this, pretty much the only way, is you just keep shooting paint at it until it actually just coats it enough that you can't see it. It was driving me nuts. But yeah, if that happens, you know, the other idea would be like just stick a little piece of electrical tape on there, you know, black electrical tape. It's the back, you know, it's going to be dark in the tank anyway. It's going to be dark on the backside. You wouldn't even notice, but I just kept hitting it with paint. I just did that again right there just to be sure. I mean, if it shows through whatever in my kitchen, I'll just put a piece of electrical tape over it. That drives me nuts. I mean, I cleaned and cleaned. Anyway, so yeah, so watch this, guys. This is cool, right? This is the best part. I'm doing this with one hand. Oh, yeah, that's what happens when you do it with one hand. Hold on. It'll come from the, oh no, it's being mean. All right, we're gonna go ahead and rip it off from there like that. We'll fix that later. We'll just come back here and carefully hit it. I don't want to, the paint's still kind of wet, so you really want to be careful, but it's best to take your tape off when the paint is wet. Well, I'm really messing this up. It's because of the edge that I did over the edge. So it's kind of gripping it. But yeah, look at this. It's already dry. I mean, I can bring this inside tonight, but I'm not ready for that. That's going to be tomorrow. It's getting dark. But I also, yeah, I'll come back and get this. Maybe now? Let's see. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. Feeling lucky. Keep that paper off of there. Whee! All done. That looks good. I cut all that because I was kind of paying attention to me. I'm gonna get this one little tiny piece off of here. Easy, easy. Again, the paint's really soft. It's not cured. You got to let it cure for at least 24 hours. You can still see some light through there. I hope that doesn't drive me nuts. If it does, I'll just run a whole piece of electrical tape across here and I won't even notice. So if we look at it from inside, yeah, see, you can see the light up through that crack right there. Oh my God, that drives me nuts. That drives me nuts. I will be running a piece of tape there. I don't remember ever having a problem with that at that little spot right there. I wonder if I could just hit it with paint again. Yeah, I don't want to make a mess, so I'll just run a piece of tape. I got lots of electrical tape. I'll just run that over there. But it looks like my fisheye, and you guys aren't going to pick it up. But you don't see any light coming through any of that. And what you really see is the reflection of the padding I put on my stool here. But I mean, you would see the light. It was shining like that, you know? So you would see that. I saw like a little holes here. And I went at it with a toothpick, thinking there was a piece of white something crap that was under there. Lo and behold, it was the fisheye. Yeah, hey, watch this. So look at this. I'm gonna walk over here. Oh, stuck to my butt. There's my pieces. I pressure washed them. Look at that. Look how they came out, huh? These are some gorgeous pieces. Mapani. Yeah, look, I remember the name of this stuff. Yeah, man, I love it. I love this stuff. So much character. And I had it like all up like this. And they, oops, I'm not showing it very good. Like that. And then I had like a bridge. I don't know. Look at that. I just threw it together. It looks so awesome. It's not going to go like that. I'm just playing, guys. These are rocks that I actually found in the lake. And look how they're like pitted here and stuff. Through years and years of being washed out by the rain. These are the same rocks that were in the tank already. Look at that. Look at the character on that thing. This is the color of our dirt in the state that I'm from. I'm in Georgia in the United States. And that's the color of all our dirt. And eventually becomes the same color as what your socks become. Stuff, it's called Georgia clay. That red gets in everything. And it's just part of this rock. But it looks good underwater. It's going to sit just like that. Both of those are going to sit just like that. That's if I decide to use both of them. This has got such a geometric look to it right there. I almost had to stick it in a corner or something, you know. But yeah, these pieces came out good. I got all the algae, all the moss, all the Sawasser tang. Anything that was growing on these things is gone. Now, it's easier to see green when it's dry. So I'm going to let these dry overnight, and then I'll take another look at them if I need to. Guys, it literally took me 45 minutes to get my stupid pressure washer working. It had old gas in it, I guess. I mean, we use ethanol, the ethanol free, but inevitably it still gets water in it. So I drained out the carb and boom, fired right up. Got fresh gas from the tank. The carb somehow just absorbs water into it. But yeah, I think I'll reuse all of that. All right, fish muggers. It's been a long day. It's Saturday here, and this turned out to be a bigger task than I thought. I mean, I've been at it all day. I don't know if you can tell in the picture, but this is now empty, no water. I'm gonna pick up the camera and like kind of walk you around real quick. I got fish going in a bucket down here with an air bubbler and a heater. I got the plants off in another bucket. I still got to take the gravel out. And oh, in that little container up there, I have a bunch of snails. So I had to save everybody. It's just the way I am, man. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. If you look over here, you can see right here on my cutting board, the new tank, all ready to go. That little crack of light that was up here in the top just drove me nuts. So I got a piece of electric tape going all the way across here. I put that on there this morning, so it's ready to go. I also cleaned it some more. I found some more fingerprints of silicone. The person who assembled it, they have their name on the little inspection tab, Julie. Look for that in your next tank. Make sure Julie didn't assemble it. She's a mess. Okay. Inspected by, or no, it was assembled by Julie, and then it was inspected by somebody else. There was another little sticker in there too. I mean, you know, they peer review it, but I guess they don't care. Anyway, all right. So I'm gonna get this out of here. I'm gonna slide that tank up into here, and I might, so all this stuff that I did in here, I did it wrong. So all I have in there is gravel, and it's mixed with sand. And I don't know if it mixed just by the course of, you know, nature running its course through the through the tank, and the sand just filtered down through into the gravel. It was the and I can tell what kind of gravel it was. It was the Carib Sea Eco Start or Eco something. It's like a red bag. I'll show a picture of it right there. And I know I have that, and then I put some like decorative pebbles, which are really just the the garden pebbles, the kind that I showed you in a bag before on another thing, but you know, from like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. So that's what was in there. But I'm gonna take all of that out. Now what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to reuse this as my bottom substrate, and then I'm gonna put soil over that, and then I'll cap the whole thing with play sand. So instead of being a black bottom, it's gonna be a white sand bottom, which is what I think I'm gonna do going forward. I mean, on every tank, I'm just gonna have the play sand is a nice tight cap in tanks. Let me let me quickly show you what I got going here, and you know what I did. I won't take long. So here we go. So I put the Valgrass in there with the giant piece of Amazon sword. Actually, one of the giant pieces. This was the healthier of the giant pieces. It's in here with all my fish. Actually, you can see some of the white skirts down there, can't you? That was really fun trying to catch all those little guys. My wife helped me. Yeah, so that's what I got going. So I got the heater, I got the bubbler. So they should be good for a couple of days in there, is what I'm thinking. I'll monitor and make sure that the water doesn't get overheated. Then over here, these are some of the rocks that I got out of here. And yeah, not a big deal. They're rocks, not much to show you. Here's the piece of tape that I put on there, so you can see like I put the tape and it goes all the way across like that. Oh, and I did paint these, but just in case they showed through or whatever, when I wasn't, you know, when I filled the thing up, I just went ahead and put little pieces of tape over those little fish eyes. Drives me crazy. Yep, and that's it. I mean, that's where I'm at. So like, I mean, you know, oh wow, that reflects a lot, right? But let's show you inside. So yeah, I got a big mess in there. Hey, what if I got up on the ladder and showed you like that? Here, hold on. Got a ladder right here. Yeah. So, I mean, nothing special about this stuff, but I can reuse it because you know, it's nice and fresh. It's already got all the bacteria in it, you know, and I should be able to like have a nice cycle very quick. Of course, the sand cap might keep some of the bacteria from coming to the surface. And there's all the snails. And I had like a bunch of snail shells or old snail shells. You know what I do with those shells, guys? I just grind them up and put them back in there because they're a source of calcium. And I think the other snails will kind of like try to munch on them a little bit. You know, I don't know if they do or not, but you know, that's my thought. You know, I might actually when I set this thing back up again, I might actually, oh, and look at that crack, man. But I might actually set up like a cuttle bone glued to something and make sure that I just supply that for all the snails. I wonder if they're getting enough calcium because their shells were like really soft. Oh, okay, nice reflection. All right, but that's it. Hey guys, I wanted to show you this real quick. So I'm actually outside getting the gravel out of the old one. So the old one's out. This is the new one. Yay. But I forgot I had this on the bottom of my of that tank. And you know what this is? This is light diffuser that you can get at the, you know, at the hardware stores for your drop down ceiling lights. So it would go and I guess it diffuses the light or just adds some decoration to the lights. Oh yeah, you can't see that. But it's actually pretty thin. So if you look at it, so it doesn't really take up a whole lot of room in there. And the reason why I put this in the bottom of the tank is just in case any rocks make their way through, they don't hit the bottom and potentially crack it. You know, so this is just like a protective layer. It's super thin. I'd say that's a 1/4 inch. Less than a centimeter for any Europeans watching. But yeah, that's what I do. Just a pro tip. So I'm gonna reuse the gravel that I had. I have 2 big bowls of this. Here's my other bowl. And this stuff already had some aqua soil in it. I could see it. So that's fine, that's good. But I'll also cap it with some more aqua soil. Probably end up using the rest of that. I don't think I want it as thick as I had it, but I'll see. I might make it like, I might bunch it up in the back. Look, there's me filming. Hi. All right, so I'm not gonna show you that whole process. Maybe what I'll do is I'll show you when I've got it all in there, when I got the gravel in there, and then I'll show you that how much I'm gonna cap it. And then after that, I need to go wash some sand. But all my buckets are being used, so I don't know how I'm gonna wash the sand. So I got the gravel in, and I made a little bit of a mess. Remember, I'm trying to make it so that it just looks like sand here. So luckily I have this whole frame. I mean, if you're a rimless tank, it's a little more difficult. You actually got to pull it all the way back, and then the sand will backfill in there. I can actually take the gravel up to the frame and then on top of that. But I don't think you see it in the picture here, but I made a mess on the wall right here, and I know there's sand particles. Actually, this is black blasting media. I recognize it because it's like a translucent green. It looks black when you're far away, but like up close, it's see-through green, dark green. Pretty cool. But anyway, I made a mess on the glass right here. Now remember, you don't want to wipe that, especially blasting media, because that'll scratch the glass. Hard to say. Pretty easily. So remember the squirt bottle method. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to squirt all the sides. I'm going to squirt down the media because that'll help it settle just a little bit, you know, make it more compact. Because I forgot to show you, like in the build for the goldfish tank, you remember that little piece that I glued in, the little piece of wood that I glued in, and you know, and it was laying on the rock, and the rock was, you know, flat on the sand and everything. It looked like it was on the thing. Well, on the rock. Well, when I put water in the tank, the whole thing settled down almost 1/2 inch. So the so-called root is actually sticking up in the air. I'm okay with it. I mean, it's fine. It looks fine. But like, you know, that's one thing. Like you could lay it all out, but when it's dry, well, once you add water, all that sand just compacts back, you know, compacts down. Everything starts to move and shuffle as it's going down, as it's compacting down. So So yeah, so one trick would be to squirt everything down, maybe even add a little bit of water and then suck it back out just to get that settling, so you get a more definitive idea of what your scape is going to look like. But right now I haven't put the aqua soil, which is actually fluval stratum. I haven't put that in yet. I'm going to squirt this down and then I'll add that layer, and then I got to go wash some sand. I was also kind of nitpicky on the gravel, and I took the big pieces of gravel out. That's just me being OCD. I saw those big old pieces. I was like, I don't want that under the substrate. It won't hurt anything. I could have just left it there. Your garden has all kinds of rocks in it, right? When your garden outside. But don't you really just want nice fluffy soil to dig into with your fingers and put your plants into the garden and not hit a bunch of little pebbles and rocks and stuff? That's how I feel about it. But yeah, I did that. All right, the fluval stratum aqua soil layer is in. I just want to show you what I got. See, look, I got most of the big stones out. Oh, I missed one right there. It'll be fine. All right, so you can see by the puddles of water along the edges, I've pulled it back from the edges right there. I don't so much care about this side because it's the wall right here, so all the electrics are all hidden up behind here and everything, and my air pump's down there. I was gonna mount all those nice and neat and everything, and I'm like, I never see it. So it's just one of those things I never got to. But yeah, so it's hard to tell here, but I built it up in the back, just kind of like how I did the goldfish tank, right? But I made that little section over there a little lower because I know that my filter is going to go there. So I'm not going to have any plants growing there. Oh, well, almost fell off the ladder. All right, but see, now you can see kind of the hill, right? And then it kind of tapers off right here at the end. See that? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go wash some sand and I'm going to cap it. I'll be right back. Hey guys, all right, so the sand. I started to wash the sand after I found a bucket. And this sand, so my wife picked this up at a place called Lowe's. If you have a place called Lowe's around you, I mean, I think they're like a North American hardware store, kind of like everything store, really. Sort of like Home Depot. Everybody's heard of Home Depot. Well, the Lowe's Play Sand is like this red color, and I washed it like, I don't know, it must have been 10 times. And it's still like super silty. The water's all cloudy. It's horrible. It's this reddish color too. I don't know where they source their sand, but I would not recommend these guys. I mean, I hate to give a bad review on that, but so my wife and my daughters are out actually running some errands, and I asked them to stop because I asked her to pick them up last time. They had to run back out and do more errands, so I caught them. I was like, okay, go to Home Depot and get their play sand. And I told her too, I said, look and see if they have pool filter sand. Because I've never tried that before, and I'm going to see if it's like much different. So if they have pool filter sand, she's going to get some of that. Otherwise, the Home Depot play sand, it's like really white, like they get it from a beach or something. I don't know, man. I mean, it's really nice sand. So so I'm not going to get the sand done tonight. So that'll be probably tomorrow. We'll see what she comes home with. But yeah, sorry. I thought I was going to get to the point of maybe actually adding some water into this thing. I'd like to get those fish out of that bucket. I'm sure they'll be fine. I'll check on. I keep checking on them. They're fine. So, yeah, tune back in. Well, you will tune back in if you're still watching this video. Stay tuned. Yeah, but I'll get back with you tomorrow evening after I'm done with my real job. All right, thanks, guys. Hey guys, okay, so now it's the next day. It's after work, and I need to get some sand in here. You know, so that sand that I got from Lowe's, the play sand, it still hadn't settled. I'll put a picture of it. If I didn't already put a picture of it, I'll put a picture here and show you. I put my hand in the bucket and took a picture. Hopefully the glare wasn't too bad, but I couldn't even see my hand like 2 inches down. And that had been trying to settle since yesterday night. So don't use that stuff, guys. I hate to say it. I mean, it's not good for your aquarium. I don't think it's good for aquariums. It's got too much junk in it or whatever. So anyway, I've had good luck with Home Depot's play sand, and I'm gonna try this filter, this pool filter sand, and I'm not gonna rinse it at all. I'm just gonna put it straight in, hoping for the best, right? I mean, if it's pool filter sand, you wouldn't want all that silt and stuff to go into your pool, so I would think this might be actually pretty rinsed. I'm hoping. So we'll see. I'll let you know. You guys will find out. And I'm going to get that done. I'm not going to show that process. You've already seen it. You know, it's simply just adding sand in. I'm going to start at the edges first so that it doesn't push my soil or my black parts that I don't want to be visible above this frame right here. I'm going to add it to all to the edges first. Then I'll work my way to the center. That's the trick. Pro tip. You've already seen this pro tip. But okay, so I'm gonna get working on that, and then I'll show you that, and then I don't know how much more I'll get to do. Maybe I'll start, you know, laying out the scape a little bit. So let's see how far I get. Okay? All right, see you in a bit. All right, guys, here it is. Wow, I mean, that literally took me 5 minutes. If this pool filter sand works out, man, I'm using this forever. Like, just not having to clean the sand saves me at least half an hour, maybe an hour, I don't know. And then dealing with this like not clumpy wet sand. It's slightly moist actually, but you know, I would expect if the container hadn't been opened, if the bag hadn't been opened, my wife bought a damaged bag, I guess. They were all damaged, she said. It probably would have been drier, right? And it probably would have just gone in like, you know, like dry sand. But man, if this works out, oh my gosh, that's a game changer for me. Hey, I want to show you something. So I'm gonna, yeah, my bird's inside. Sorry about the bird noises. She got new toys today, so she's all happy. Here's a little trick I do. I don't know if you're gonna catch the depth in the video here, but what I do is I take and I dig down in you know, and I'll test a couple little spots to make sure that my sand cap is thick enough. So like I can see right here, oh yeah, okay, lost the focus, but I can see right here, that's about, I'd say an inch and a half. And that's about how thick I want it. You know, just to make sure that when I plant plants in there, that that inside layer is not gonna come up. I mean, it's not bad if it comes up, I just don't want it to be ugly like that. And eventually the fish will poop so much, it won't even be a thing anymore. But in the beginning, I want it to be pretty. And another thing I do is, you see my little handprints everywhere? I tamp it down because this will actually change thickness. When I add water to this, it'll take another 1/4 inch out of this. So that's why I want to make sure when it's dry that I have at least an 1.5 inches or whatever. You know, I want it to be thick enough because it changed in the goldfish tank a lot. I didn't think it would change that much. And I even tamped it down, so I expect that this sand will compress, you know, a good bit more after I put some water in it, which is exactly what I'm going to do right now. So that's the next step. I won't show you that boring process. Okay, see you in a bit. So this is some water, about 6 gallons. And I guess I should have rinsed it. That's pretty dirty. I'm gonna let that's fresh. I just put that in, but it could have been my mistake. At one point, I actually got through the sand as the force of the water kind of went straight down to the substrate underneath, and it kind of came up, and then it had dirty water. Like I could see the water was dirty. I mean, you know, because the black color from all the aqua soil and everything that was in there. So, but I don't think it was that much. I think this is from the sand itself. So I think the story here is, or the lesson learned here is, rinse your pool filter sand as well. Now, I might try to remedy this. When I get the whole tank filled up, I might actually try, running a filter in it overnight and try to capture that all up. I'll use some like filter floss. If you guys know what that is, it's really just polyfill for pillows. You could use that stuff, and you put it in, you just pack it up into a filter, and it just collects all the contaminants out of the water. And I might even try a little bit of AccuClear. I showed you guys that in a previous video. So API makes this stuff called AccuClear, and what it's supposed to do is take all the fine particulates and kind of bunch them together so that it's easier for your filtration system to suck it up, and then you can take it out of there. So I may try that too, just to save me the trouble of having to do a water change, because water changes are not entirely easy in my current setup. And I was trying to use RO water, but I don't have enough, so I'm doing part RO water, and then the rest I'm going to do with tap water, which I'll then treat with the API water conditioner to make sure there's no chlorine or anything in there that's going to hurt anything. And it's perfectly safe to do that, guys. I don't need, I started the whole goldfish tank with, straight RO water, but sometimes you don't have that luxury, and not everybody does. I mean, it's pretty uncommon. RO systems are pretty cheap on Amazon if you go looking for them. I want to say I got my whole setup for like 50 bucks, but you might have to look for a deal. I've seen also on Marketplace where people are selling their systems too, so you might want to look into that as well. It's not hard to do. It's just not exactly accessible to everybody. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to fill it the rest of the way with just regular tap water. I'm going to run a filter on it overnight, and I probably won't film anymore tonight. I actually got to get the wood that it's been out of the tank for a couple of days, and I want it to stay waterlogged so that it won't float at all. So I want to get that in there. I'm not going to scape or anything. I'm just going to get it in there just so it's staying wet. I don't know how dry it is, but we'll see. And that's what I'm going to do. So then I'll get back with you guys again tomorrow. Yeah, and that's another thing, guys. You don't have to build your tank all in one day. You can spread it out over a couple days. The fish are still fine, and I fed them, and they were running around eating all the food. No, I can't count them or anything, but I got a big piece of Amazon sword in there. So, but whoever's left was eating ferociously. So they're all fine and comfortable where they are there, and I think they'll be able to handle another day or two. So yeah, I mean, I prefer to go faster, but I can't. I don't have the time. I got a real job. So I got to pay the bills. Okay, well, I'll catch back up with you guys tomorrow. And I'm going to see, I'm going to start editing this tomorrow too, and I'll see how long it is. And if it's too long, then I guess I'll have to break this one up into parts too. So this could be part 1. So maybe the next one's going to be part 2. But come back. I'll set it up as a series, and you guys can just watch the whole thing. All right, thanks a lot. Have a good night. It's 24 plus hours since yesterday. I put a filter on here. It's been running the whole time. I left the Python in here, and it's full of water just because I'm going to have to take some of this water out when I go to start adding the wood in here. I did not add the wood in at all or anything because I just wanted to clear the water, and I didn't want silt all over my wood pieces. Then I'd have to rinse it off and clean it, and it's already clean. Hopefully it'll sink when I put it in. But yeah, so night and day difference. So the filter did work. And in the filter I have, so it was actually new. I hadn't used this filter yet. And this is just it's Top Fin was the name of the brand. You can find them. It's like $16 at like PetSmart or Petco, one of those. And it's good to have one of these around for just such an occasion. So, it won't break your bank either. I put some filter floss in there. I have the filter that came with it, so it has some charcoal in it. and then I let that run the whole time. So I'm probably just gonna take those out. I'm gonna clean them off. Now you'll notice another thing too, and this happens all the time when you start up a new tank, is you get these water bubbles all over the place. They're fine, they won't hurt a thing. You know, if they bother you, then you can just kind of like brush them off. You'll also see that the different layers of where I, was bringing the water up and bringing it down and bringing it up and that kind of thing, left some material on the inside of the glass. I'm just gonna kind of give that a brushing. Again, don't use a cloth because there might be sand particles in that. So just do it very lightly and just get it off the side. You can come back later and use a, like an algae scraper or something like that to get it like super clean in the end. But I'm not stressing about it until I start scaping. And, and I wanna show you another thing. So, man, I've seen all kinds of videos out there where people they fill up the tank and they put a, like a plastic bag in there, or they'll put a bowl in there or a plate in there. And I did all of that. And I still ended up, it washes over the surface of the bowl and then just like chews right down into the sand and went straight down to my substrate. So then it kicked up more junk up into my water column. And then I started filling it up with the Python. And then it kicked up more stuff. So I made like this giant mess, and I'm glad I wasn't filming it because I was cussing. I was just mad. I was like, "What? Stop it!" So it wasn't going the way I planned, but I did finally get it filled. And there's only a couple little particles of the aqua soil up here on the surface. I'll just push them down with my finger, or they'll just get covered with the stones when I put them in too. So I'm not gonna go crazy. But it does drive me nuts. I promise. I won't lie to you. I promise you. It drives me nuts. Yeah, let me show you. Let's see. I'll just pick the whole tripod up and do this. Yeah. See if you can make that out. So there's little black spots all over the place. That drives me nuts. I just wanted clean sand. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I am not going to get anything else done tonight. It's kind of late even now, and I've already started editing this video. So yeah, I'm trying to do that at the same time that I'm filming, just so I can keep up. Man, it's a lot of work. And then yeah, so I guess we'll be tuning back in again tomorrow. The fish are still good. I checked on them all. I've been feeding them every day, so they're doing fine. There's no worries at all with those guys, and heck, they might even like it because there's like all the comfort of that nice blue bucket and not a bunch of people walking around. It didn't bother them. They were used to us anyway. Anytime I came over to the tank, they would all come swarming to me because they thought they were getting fed. They're like trained, right? But anyway, all right. So I'll be back with you again tomorrow evening. All right, I'm sorry this is taking so long. Thanks, guys. I've been editing all the videos that I've taken from this episode, and I noticed that I'm almost up to an hour. So I'm gonna call this the end of part 1. So I'll make a part 2. Heck, there might even be a part 3. There's still a lot more to do here. Thank you for tuning in. I hope I haven't bored you. I hope maybe that you learned a few things from this, and I at least entertained you. But yeah, I appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks.